Luthen Rael's House of Cards has finally come crashing down. And for the rebellion, it's 1 minute to midnight. At last, the most secret word in all the labyrinthian, Palpatinian plans of the galaxy far, far away is finally spoken.
Death Star, what a prescient turn of phrase.
Tony Gilroy's complex, meditative, sometimes overindulgent, and always ambitious Star Wars Andor finally connects to the pivotal events of Rogue One. And yes, I immediately watched Rogue One after the final 3 episodes of Andor, the series finale, and it was beautiful. This is my review of Andor, the series finale, and the series as a whole. There will be spoilers ahead. I am Captain Garrett of the Swords and Starships channel, and our continuing mission is to explore beautiful worlds, inspire bold characters, and truth in art. Let's go, Lieutenant Producer. The first of the final 3 episodes of Andor very wisely abandons its various subplots to just tell one story about its most interesting character, Luthen Rael, played brilliantly by Stellan Skarsgård. The spider who's just been building this web of agents and intrigue in the galaxy to try and get some kind of rebellion against the Empire going. And there's this fascinating transition over the course of the show. In the beginning of the show, there was no rebellion, capital R. There was just cells, little resistance movements, and mostly just spies and assassins. And that's basically what Luthen and Andor were. But now there's Yavin 4, there's a rebel alliance, there's, a proper army, a proper navy. And now Luthen is this kind of relic. Which brings us to the inciting incident of the final 3 episodes, the final arc of Andor, which is Luthen's long-suffering ISB mole, Lonnie, comes to him telling him he's got news that Luthen has got to hear. He's broken into Dedra's database, and he finally knows the horrifying truth. And Luthen says, well, what is it? Tell me what it is. And of course, Lonnie insists, I want extraction. I want out of here. And Luthen manages to wheedle him into giving him just a little bit and saying, yes, absolutely. We're in this together now. I'll get you out. And so what happens? Of course, Lonnie spills the beans that they're building a super weapon that can destroy planets, and Luthen promptly kills him. So Luthen and Kleya have to escape Coruscant. Dedra shows up at Luthen's antiquities shop right as he's trying to destroy all of the evidence. Finally, these 2 arch nemeses square off, and they have this great conversation where they are like sparring with each other verbally. But you see, Dedra wanted the joy of catching her prey and him knowing that she caught him. And so she made the mistake of giving Luthen a chance to off himself. So Luthen stabs himself and is dying, and Dedra rushes him to the hospital, trying to keep him alive on life support. So Luthen is on life support so they can hopefully get him back to life and torture, the location of Yavin and other important rebel secrets out of him. Meanwhile, we get a backstory of Kleya, his assistant, who turns out to sort of be an adoptive daughter. He was a soldier of the Empire years ago. She was this little girl that was hiding in his ship during another of the Empire's many genocides. And he saved her, deserted the Empire, and together they sort of began their plans of mustering this resistance movement. And there's just some great dialogue in this, such as, she wants to fight. And for all those saying that there's too many girl bosses in Andor, there's a pretty brilliant scene where she's getting all bossy, and she's like, when are we going to fight? When are we going to stand up to the Empire? And he basically says, you want to stand up to the Empire? You're on your own. If you really want to fight them, it means we're going to lose. And lose, and lose for a long time until we're ready to win. And just puts her in her place and starts teaching her the tactics that will actually allow them to win. And so the whole story revolves around Kleya, who's still extremely loyal to Luthen, figuring out how am I going to stop them from reviving Luthen and torturing the details out of him. Kleya really needs to get the information he has about the impending Death Star to the Alliance on Yavin, but instead of getting that information to Yavin, her priority is to save the man that saved her and raised her. And it's brilliant. It's a really excellent scene. It involves some really great sabotage. You know, a lot of people forget that during World War II, one of the things the Allies did routinely was we funded Polish resistance fighters, French resistance fighters. They spied on the Yazidis. They sabotaged their rail lines. They did all kinds of things. And one lapse in concentration, and that was it for them. And this show portrays that beautifully. The final 2 episodes provide a really powerful denouement to the series that brings us right into Rogue One while still raising the stakes and the tension. We have Andor and now K2 from the film, the robot that's been the Imperial robot that's now been fully reprogrammed. Basically, Andor has to extract her Kleia from Coruscant. Kleia is at the safe house where she's holed up trying to get this transmission out to the rebels. Meanwhile, the Empire has tracked it. Dedra screwed up. She screwed the pooch. She's been arrested and she's been put in an Imperial dungeon. The reaction of the Empire is ruthless and brutal. They're going to lock her up and throw away the key. That's why you never make a deal with the devil, because the rewards are never going to be worth it. So then you have her replacement, Agent Heert, who's trying to track down Kleia. Meanwhile, Andor is racing them to get to her, and there's a great standoff, nerve-shredding anticipation of how is he going to get her out of there before they manage to capture her and prevent the rebellion from ever getting news of the Death Star. So, of course, we know they're going to get that news, but it's the way the show weaves the tale of how difficult it was to get this warning to the rebellion and how difficult it was to get them to believe it. We get this really great ending montage at the end. All of that's done really well. It ties everything together. I kind of left out a lot of what goes on in the episode in case you haven't seen it yet. But all I will say is there is one thing at the end of it that I really... On one level, I understood it, but I hated it. And that is they reveal that Bix is living a peaceful life on the wheat farm. The wheat is back, and she's holding a baby. And it's Andor's child that she never told him about because she made the decision to leave Andor on Yavin because if she didn't, he would choose her and, of course, his child over the rebellion. And the rebellion needed him. So she denied Andor the chance to ever know his child or that he was a father. On one hand, it's the only way that Tony Gilroy as a writer could have given us a ray of hope that Andor's legacy would continue on because we know he dies in Rogue One. So the writer in me tends to think that that was the intent of it, was to say, look, a piece of Andor lives on. What he sacrificed was worth it because look at who survived. But it's so cruel and heartless to deny Andor the knowledge, let alone the choice to be a father. And it's a kind of unforgivable misstep of the show, I have to say. So those who loathe Andor are going to say it's a bleak Shakespearean tragedy about characters self-immolating. It lacks the adventure, the heart, and spirit of Star Wars. The violence is too realistic for escapist sci-fi. Identity politics warp the storytelling, including clumsy immigration allegories, implausible speeches, often by women lecturing men about how to fight wars, jarring modern elements, like impromptu drunken raves at weddings. And there are those who revere Andor who will say it's a masterclass in long-form storytelling and payoff. Characters feel lived in, morally complex and real. Gilroy gave us the most compelling Star Wars under Disney's banner. And indeed, he probably did. Those who revere Andor will also say that its critics simply lack the intelligence or the sophistication or the patience to appreciate how brilliant it is, and that they're too attached to George Lucas's bygone lore. To all these claims, I would say, I understand, and I largely agree, but here's what I won't say. I won't say that anyone who disliked the slow pacing or drawbacks that I mentioned is unsophisticated or not smart enough to get it, nor would I say that it's better than Lucas's original vision or that it could ever replace what's come before. What I will say is this: despite its flaws, despite the wandering detours, the involvement of wheat, among other issues, Andor Season 2 in particular, and Andor more broadly, is a breathtaking storytelling achievement that scratched a sinister itch in me, and it was the itch to see exactly what a galaxy would look like if it were ruled by the Sith, bereft of the Jedi, and what the courage would be of the ordinary people who delivered one hard-won chance to restore freedom to the galaxy. And I loved it. Against all odds, I'm going to say Andor, the season 2 for me, is a 9 out of 10, and the series as a whole, I'm going to say, is an 8 out of 10. It's the one really good thing that's been done under Disney, and let's face it, this was Tony Gilroy's work and his excellent stable of producers and writers who did great, excellent work on this. So I understand it's divisive. I understand the reasons for not liking the show, and they're justified. But I loved it. I enjoyed it, and it enhanced for me my imagination of what the stakes in the original 6 films was. So if you liked this review, or if you hated it, go ahead and put a like on the video, subscribe, turn on notifications. I am Captain Garrett of the Swords and Starships channel, and until next time, I will see you out there in the galaxy far, far away.
I'm damned for what I do. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. So what do I sacrifice? Everything!